Good morning. Just want to share a heartfelt thanks to all of you and the educators in your schools and districts for a successful test administration this school year. We started in December with access testing, and we went until last week with Aspire testing. And many, many thanks to the staff here in OSA as well. And we thank you, and they all want to thank you for all the phone calls and emails and the communication that you had with us and with your staff in taking care of the testing this year. And again, once again, thanks for sharing your feedback with the end of testing survey. These feedback will be really helpful for us as we move along with the work planning meetings and kickoff meetings for the next year's assessment. And we will be working on the reporting timeline, and we will be sharing with you the spreadsheet that you used to get in the previous year, something like that, which gives you an idea of when to expect what kind of reports from all of these tests. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be sharing that maybe in the coming week or the week after in the DAC Digest. In the summer, we will be busy doing item review meetings with educators. Thanks for all of those who have signed up to participate in this important event. This really helps to improve the quality of the assessment. Plus, it's a great professional development for educators as well to understand the item development and the assessment in general. So encourage other folks who you might think would be best for such activities to participate in the summer with us. And then we will also be conducting a science standard setting for the forward exam in a couple weeks from now. And we are also working on some other areas of improving wherever we have received feedback from us. So keep that coming our way. It will help us better our program. Thanks again for all the work that you have done. And I think we have published all of the test window for next year, except the Aspire one. We should be able to get that to you through our webpage next week. So we'll have all the information on that as well. Thanks so much. And at this time, I'm going to turn it to our staff to provide specific feedback on and information and update on each of those assessments.
Good morning. This is Allison. As BG said, we just want to thank you. We are done with the forward exam. The window is closed. Data are off being scored as we speak. And it overall was a great testing window. We really appreciate all of the phone calls and emails. We actually had possibly more phone calls and emails this year, but I think that's a good thing, and that it was people asking questions and making sure that everything was administered correctly. So thank you. I know the biggest question is, when will everyone get their scores? So we do have a standard setting this spring, which is unusual. It's because we have the new science assessment. So the last week of May, we have the standard setting for science, which is when cut scores are identified and things like that. Because of that, that pushes everything back. So we know that we'll have individual student reports and summary reports available electronically in eDirect in early July. I don't have any more specific dates than that because it depends on how the event goes at the end of May. Hard copies will be mailed to districts in early August. We encourage you to send those out to parents as soon as possible before things get busy with the school year starting. You can visit the Forward Exam Data and Results webpage for more information about this. This year, we are again offering the option with DRCs that you could request receiving electronic ISRs as individual PDFs, one PDF per student, in addition to getting the large PDF files in eDirect that are files by grade level and includes every kid's ISR in that grade level. The benefit of that is that it is easier than to upload those PDFs at the student level into things like parent portals to send the PDFs electronically to parents. If you want to receive PDFs in that format, you need to complete and submit a request form. The link is here, and we would like those in by June 6th so DRC can start working on producing those. And finally, if you haven't completed the after testing survey, you still have a couple days to do that. We ask that we get all the feedback by tomorrow, end of day, so that we can compile all of your feedback and meet with DRC and start talking about improvements and changes, things we can do for next year. We do really appreciate the feedback, and we do read through all the responses, and we have a lot this year, so that is great. We appreciate that. So the question is, with the new electronic ISRs, are we authorized to upload those into our SIS, contact parents by letter as to where to find these? You do not need to directly email those to parents. I think the intent is that they would be uploaded into your SIS. Yeah, and emailing actually isn't considered secure, so you should not be emailing it to parents directly. You want them to log into a secure portal to access.
All right, so good morning, everyone. This is Jennifer Bell. We're going to talk about Aspire and ACT and work keys. So our Aspire window has closed as well. Thank you very much to everyone and all your hard work on administering that assessment. At this point, what we're working on is entering the not tested codes for students who take DLM or do not test for any other reason. The deadline to enter those codes is by the end of the day on May 20th, and you do that on the student profile page under the Testing Accountability tab, and you'll enter the code once for each subject, or if there's a student who just didn't take one subject or two subjects, you would only enter it for those subjects that the student did not complete. If it's not allowing you to enter the codes, try reinstating the student. So you'd request reinstatement. We'll approve that reinstatement at DPI, and then you should be able to enter the code. The score reporting schedule for Aspire. So all of the reports will be available in the Aspire portal in mid-July under summative reports. There are individual student reports for schools to distribute to students. And then there are many other summative reports in there. I have put a link to the Aspire data and results page so you can see report samples and also a template for the ISR cover letter. The score report schedule for work keys. Paper score reports and the National Career Readiness Certificates, the NCRCs, will be mailed in hard copy to schools in mid-June. High schools will receive 2 reports for each student, an individual summary report and then what they call the summary score report. So you should distribute that individual summary report to each student. ACT has also sent out emails to each test coordinator at the school about where to access these reports online in this reporting portal that they call Validus, or Validus, perhaps. So you should receive 2 emails on Tuesday, one with information about this reporting portal, and then a second email with a password reset that has the password in the email. Again, those emails went to the school test coordinator. There isn't a district-level access in Validus, so the schools would have received these emails. And here's a link also to the report schedule that pretty much summarizes what I've just talked you through. For ACT, most students have received their score reports at home. ACT sends those 3 to 8 weeks after testing is completed. The schools would also receive an individual report for each student in addition to a checklist report and those labels with the student scores. All of the aggregate reports by school and district, which ACT calls their profile reports, those will be available in Pearson Access Next in mid-June. A data file in Excel or CSV of the student-level data will also be in Pearson Access Next for the districts to access. This is a change from last year that last year these reports were in PA Next and they were mailed in hard copy, the aggregate reports. This year they will only be in PA Next. So districts, you will not receive that data CD, and schools and districts will not receive hard copy of the profile report. It will all be in PA Next mid-June, and again, here's the link to the ACT data and results page that has lots of resources for you. This is a frequently asked question. Students can access their ACT score online actually 1 week after they receive their paper score report. So there's the link to the student web account. And what a student would do is click that link and create an account using the information on their paper report. There's a report number that the student would put in there. And so then they can see their scores online. If students have taken the ACT before, as long as the name and the date of birth match exactly, it should pull in those old ACT scores along with the grade 11 statewide. If those two are not linking, students should call that phone number on the screen, the 319-337-1270, that's Student Services at ACT, and they can merge those files together. Also, I linked in here the Taking the ACT Test booklet. All the students received that when they took the test, and it walks students through these instructions on page 3. Another frequently asked question, retakes for national test dates. ACT has test dates in June and July. I think the registration deadline has passed for June, but just wanted to remind you that fee waivers are available for students who are retaking the ACT if they have financial need, and I've linked a lot of information here about how to access those fee waivers. This is a relatively new resource, ACT Academy. It's free test prep for all students, so students can go there and sign up. And then just another reminder that for Wisconsin accountability, so state and federal accountability report cards, that is only using the data from the statewide grade 11 ACT test. And this is just a whole host of resources for you, understanding score reports, many links here to for ACT, understanding your scores, using your ACT results, and I want to draw attention to this user handbook for educators, which is an incredibly comprehensive resource that talks all about scoring, reporting, in a lot of great detail. The next slide talks about work keys and Aspire, so same thing, I've linked the key resources for you to review and share with students and families, especially for Aspire, understanding your results, and then an interpretive guide for reports.
Good morning, this is Jesse with some updates from WIDA and Access for ELL. WIDA is making a lot of changes to some of the web portals, and I just wanted to make sure you were aware of them. One of the biggest help desk calls for WIDA are what usernames are for people's logins. They've decided to simplify that and switch over to email addresses as of June 10th. So one thing to just double check is that email addresses are correct in the WIDA Secure portal. The TSM is now being depreciated by DRC. It's no longer going to be available at the end of June. So if you are using the WIDA screener through the summer for screening, you're going to need to uninstall the TSM, install and configure the central office services. If you've already got COS installed, you can just uninstall the TSM and make sure the access and screener materials are available within that. They're also going to roll over the screener, which we know a lot of districts have been asking for. A lot of students are building up in there after a couple of years of screening. They're now going to have assessment years or school years tied to the screener. What this means, however, is that there'll be a brief period at the end of June where the screener won't be available. On June 27th, they're going to lock the current administration as read-only, so if you have unscored tests in there, you won't be able to score them. It won't be available for a day or two as they roll this over, but then starting about June 30th, we'll have a new screener year in the WIDA AMS with empty rosters so that you're all ready for the next school year. And they're going to keep at least 1 year of screener results in the WIDA AMS so that if you need to go back and look up scores, you can do that. Another really nice improvement they're making is adding a lot of resources into the screener for the scorer. So when your educators go in to score the speaking and the writing, they're going to have some anchor items and guides, sample student responses, and really trying to beef up the resources available right within the screener section of it, or the scoring section of the screener, so that educators don't have to jump out and go to the WIDA Secure portal to find those information.
Hi, this is Mike Pesey. First off, I would like to thank everyone for helping to make this a very successful DLM experience for our students. I had the opportunity to go out to a few schools and had a chance to see the DLM being administered to some very enthusiastic students. The teachers really worked hard to make this a positive experience, and it was wonderful to see. Some score reports will be loaded into Educator Portal in late June, so you can begin printing them out and adding them to student folders. Just as a reminder, you'll be able to download them as a PDF, and there are 3 reports that you download. The first is a summary report, which is an individual student report that summarizes students' performance in each content area for their grade. This report is designed to help students, parents, and educators identify specific areas of strength and needs relative to the grade level essential elements. The performance profile summarizes how your student performed on the content areas of ELA, mathematics, and for some students, science. ELM performance levels are presented as emerging, approaching target, at target, and advanced. The performance profiles also include statement of skills that are typical of students performing in the identified performance level. The learning profile depicts the student's progress towards grade level targets for each essential element tested. If you have any question on these reports, please feel free to reach out and contact me. Districts will also be able to download an electronic file through Educator Portal as well, and as always, DLM data is also loaded into WiseDash. Again, thank you for having a great testing season, and if you have any questions, please reach out.
Good morning, this is Angela. I have a couple of quick updates about NAEP coming up and international assessments in this upcoming school year. NAEP this year is a little bit different than what we've done in the past few years. We're doing the long-term trend this year, this upcoming school year, which has been, it's essentially the same test and framework that's been conducted since the early 70s. And it is paper and pencil-based because it's been around for a while, and it's reading and mathematics. And it'll produce national-only results. As any other NAEP assessment, the NAEP staff will administer and bring all the materials. And also because it's paper-based, it's slightly shorter than the current tablet-based testing. It's about 90 minutes total for students. One of the big differences is that it's age-based and not grade-based. And each of those ages has a different test window. So 13-year-olds will be testing in the fall, 9-year-olds are testing in the winter, and 17-year-olds will be testing next spring. I will be sending out letters from our state superintendent in the next week or two going to district administrators in districts with schools selected for NAEP next school year, and DACs will receive a copy of that. And as soon as we get assessment dates, we will send letters to the school principals. We're hoping that's in early June. And once those go out, I'll email DACs as well. And then in the fall, we'll be sending out assessment detail mailings to schools with information about registering for MyNAEP. This year, schools will be submitting their own student lists before each age-based test window. And there are also fewer prepare for assessment tasks on MyNAEP, so it's a little more streamlined this year. But there'll be a lot more information in those fall mailings. We have some possible special studies that will be conducted in conjunction with the NAEP testing. We haven't received the list. We don't know which or if any schools in Wisconsin are selected for any of these special studies, but these are possible ones, which include the high school and beyond study, a middle grade longitudinal study, possibly others. And we do know that there will be a couple international assessments this upcoming school year. PEARLS and PISA are both conducting field tests. And again, we don't know if any Wisconsin schools are selected for these, but as soon as I receive any information, I will send out some mailing.
Good morning, this is Lauren filling in for Dwayne. He had a few very quick updates regarding the reading readiness reimbursement. The expenses incurred for the 18-19 school year will be made in the next couple of weeks, and DPI will electronically deposit reimbursements into each school district's account. Regarding the reading readiness results, DPI is able to upload the results into WiseDash for districts, for those districts using PALS, MAP, and STAR screeners. Districts that haven't previously signed a data release will need to do so in order to have that data uploaded into WiseDash for future. If you need any information on data sharing agreements, you can find them for PALS, MAP, and STAR at the links on this page. Lastly, if you have any questions regarding reading readiness, go ahead and contact Dwayne. His information is at the bottom of the page. And for more general information regarding reading readiness, go ahead and visit the general information website or the FAQ.
For our data and assessment literacy modules that you all know we have been working on here at DPI for the last year and a half, we are finally in the last stages of piloting the program. We've gotten some great feedback in the field, and we're really excited to announce that they will be available in the fall for the 2019-20 school year. I see a question from Teresa. When in 2020 do you expect the assessment action module being available? Everything else but the assessment and action will be available in September. Assessment and action, we do not have a date. We are still working on contacting schools and getting some other interviews and video sessions in place. So we're hoping at some point in 2020. I don't have an exact time frame in mind as of today.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We wish you a wonderful summer. And over to the next webinar sometime this fall. We will announce those dates through DAC Digest this summer. Thank you.